Welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing. Your pop culture my brain totally just blinked on our intro. It's your pop culture podcast that says, hey, remember that thing? I'm one of your hosts, Elizabeth Stanton. And with me is my other host.
Hey, Chris Mack, what's up, guys?
And we are on the last two episodes of Sex and the City. We have almost watched it from start to finish. One full turnaround, actually several turns around the sun, because we've been doing this for a couple of years.
Well, you know what?
We had some breaks.
It's sixth season of Sex and the City. This is our sixth season of the show.
How about that? Sure. Not how I've been numbering them.
No. But it's not really, but like, you know what? It is. It isn't. You know what I mean? It's a journey. It's a 6-year journey. We did it in 3.
Hey, double time.
Double time.
I have seen Sex and the City from start to finish. Chris has not ever seen it until now.
Almost.
I'm
one away.
In one more week, you can walk out into the world and say, I have seen Sex and the City from start to finish.
You know, I will say this is kind of cool now because over the years, I've been many conversations where people would like say something in reference to Sex and the City or make a joke that came from, Sex and the City in a group setting. And I've always just sat there just kind of like, I feel like that should be funny. I should be laughing, but I don't.
You don't have the context for it.
Yeah. But now I'm ready for it. If somebody brings up some Sex and the City shit, I'm ready. You know what I mean? I probably still won't laugh, but I'm ready. But at least I'll know.
Save your final thoughts to the next episode, my friend.
No. I'm just saying. I just said I at least I'm ready now. I gotta know. You know what I'm saying? Unless they reference an episode I haven't seen yet, which is only one. So
literally only one.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
I mean, you're a week away or so from seeing that one and being done. The thrilling conclusion to the series.
Can I say this up top? And I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I do not like the ending of this episode. I'm very pissed off about it. Mm-hmm. Again, because I know I said this last time in the episode that I was trying to figure out how Big and Carrie ended up together. Yeah. I know they do for the series. And I was just like, it doesn't make any sense. And even this time, even seeing it's so fucking fabricated. Like this.
I know.
It just comes out of no. It doesn't make any sense that this is happening. That we're in the trajectory of them getting back together. Like it blows my mind how like it's so clearly written. Like clearly the writers they had this idea from like maybe the beginning of the series. And they're like, we have to see it through, but you don't. You could have changed it.
I don't know. And if I have time to look into it, I will. I don't know who was necessarily clamoring for them to be back together.
I mean,
the conclusion of it all.
I know it's not the fans. I mean, I want to me personally, as a person who's been watching the show, even though I haven't been a fan of Carrie, it doesn't make sense for her character to be going backwards like that. After all this growth, especially this season, like she's had so much growth, so it doesn't make any sense. And so then I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of somebody who has been a fan of Carrie as a character and loved her throughout this entire series. It's like, how did you like this? How did you?
Yeah.
How is this like? Oh yeah, this makes sense. I love this. They're so close to getting back together. What? No.
I think people were still accepting and ignoring the fact that he did not really treat her well at the end of the day. That was still treated like the way he treated her through the whole series as very frankly disposable and but that was still, he was still like an ideal, at least in like a pop culture sense, hopefully not real life for people, but you never know. I mean, but I think he was still in a way kind of held up as like, it's the dream, right? It's the guy who treated you like dirt, sees the error of his ways and comes to find you. That's the dream, isn't it? It's not good. I'm not saying it's good. Personally, I've had it myself.
Personally,
it's not healthy.
Personally, it just seems like a big insult to all women. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like you said, yes, there are people like this who want this in their life and like they crave this kind of like toxicity and the up and down, a roller coaster of it is like that. So yes, they exist. I'm just saying it's just still an insult to in such a just what she's been through this season.
Yeah.
And even last season, to be honest with you, like between season 5 and this season, it's like, what are y'all doing to this woman? Why y'all doing this to her? This is it's like not even fair. You know what I mean? It's like honestly, it reminds me of them killing off the mother in How I Met Your Mother. It's like we had all this to build up to the mother for her to fucking die.
Yeah,
great, y'all appreciate it. So he can have Robin's bitch ass.
Said 6 or however many.
I'm
seasons.
still pissed about that. I'm still pissed about that.
You're not alone. Everybody,
especially
is.
Knowing that there's an alternate ending where she doesn't die and they didn't use that. Y'all shot. Yeah, you can go on YouTube right now and look up the alternate ending where she lives and none of that shit happens and that's the end of it. They get married and shit and like they ended with them like hanging out in the living room, kids and everything, and that's it. That's the end of the series, which is what we should have gotten. The fact that we ended with him being with Robin, it's like, why? It doesn't even make any sense. And Robin's just not that person.
Well, and it's such an insult to really both women that, you know, Ted wants a family or whatever, and he can't have, like, Robin can't have children. It's not that they couldn't find other ways to have children necessarily, but like, that's not why they break up. But that's just, I know that about her character. I haven't seen the whole series. So then he does get with a woman who does give him children, and then she promptly dies because he doesn't really need her anymore because he's got his kids, and now he can go back to the other woman. That's pretty fucked up.
Well, it's fucked up. That's fucked up. And then on top of that too, it's like, again, it's insulting to the character because he has all this years of going through ups and downs, breakups, this breakup, that breakup, getting things he wants, not getting things he wants, and all of a sudden he finds like literally the most perfect woman for him. And he's like, nah, but I kind of still want Robin.
But I always still wanted, yeah.
It's like it's basically this again. Basically. maybe that's what the writers did when they after they saw Sex and the City. They're like, we can do that, maybe a little bit better. We'll do it at 9 instead of 6.
And and this time we'll really wrench people's hearts.
Really,
we will make you fall in love with this woman.
Yeah,
that he's been chasing this whole time.
Real talk,
and then we'll fucking kill her.
Real talk. They literally did that because, like,
I love that actress, Kristen Milioti. She's amazing,
bruh.
Again, I didn't really see the final season. I just saw bits.
Watch the final season, and I implore you to try not to fall in love with her. Like, honestly, by the time I was like, she was such a good character to the point where when Ted gets with her, I was jealous. I was like, fuck Ted, he don't need that bitch. Like, he ain't good enough for her. He ain't good enough.
He's not good enough for Tracy.
He's not good enough for her. I know they're supposed to get together, but he ain't good enough. That's how good of a character she was. Disrespect that they killed her. Anyway, I'm sorry. Just had to get that off my chest.
Oh, not at all. But Carrie is obviously pretty much the focus of this episode. We get a little bit with Samantha, if we want to do that first, and maybe
let's get into her. Samantha and Charlotte has a little side story, and then
Charlotte has a little side story which we'll touch on. Well, we could just bring up Charlotte's story real briefly, which is we get just a few scenes of her and Harry working on getting all their adoption paperwork in place, which adoption is so hard, and they're doing private adoption. I think 1-to-1, and also trying to adopt a baby from China. So obviously lots of legal red tape and all this, that, and the other thing. And I do love them, Harry being kind of nervous and Charlotte being like, God is going to give us a baby, and until then we just have to be diligent about it to the point of obnoxious. Because that woman has a task now, and that task is Operation Adopt a Baby. And it's not like a creepy weird thing, but she's she wants to be a mother so bad. She's like, ain't nothing gonna stop me now. We've got the mission, and we are go team, go.
She's determined, and I'm with that, man. Like, I mean, honestly, if anybody deserves a kid in this entire series, it's Charlotte.
It should have been Charlotte.
I wish she could have had one naturally, but It is what it is. But I hope she just get one, man, because, dude, I mean, it's okay. So like, there's when it comes to adopting kids and stuff like that, like I agree that the process should be like somewhat of a laboring process to make sure, like, you really want it, B, like you're a good household, stuff like that. But it shouldn't be like that hard. It should be like observing a family for a good, week, maybe some months, looking at their finances, see if they ever been in trouble, see if they have any history of things, maybe even doing like some biometrics to see what, what I'm saying, like if you need to see if they, could just like kill over and die from heart attack or stroke or some shit like that. And then after that, it should be pretty easy, you know what I mean? Like to adopt a kid.
Yeah. And there's so many kids in need.
I mean, some of the, it's so many. It's so, like, it shouldn't be as hard as it is to do that, especially with the benefits that the government gets after you adopt that kid and things of that nature. It's like, and that's also too got to put more money into the system of our, economy. When you when you add a kid into your life, you're gonna be spending more money. So you would think they'd be like, oh yeah, let's adopt them as you want.
And if you're into them, kids are great. Like, if you don't want kids, that's fine. But if you do, kids are great. Like, just,
Yeah. So I used to think it was easier to adopt a dog than a kid, but I think it's about the same, honestly, now. Maybe a little bit easier with a dog. It may be a little, like, slightly easier.
In some ways, yeah. But there are, dog adoption places that are almost more like, I remember my aunt here wanted to adopt actually a kitten for my cousin for her for Christmas when she was little. And that is, I understand some of the like adoption agencies hesitation, because a lot of people do like adopt for the holiday, and then suddenly they're returning the puppy or the kitten because it's too hard to take care of. But my aunt was going through all these like hoops and stuff, and like was doing it well leading up, again, mind you, to just get a kitten for like a little girl. And like then she's like, I had to go up there and be like, Santa is bringing this kitten to this kid, so let's fucking stop.
Charlotte, that's you.
Yeah, that's my aunt. That's my aunt. But
yeah, I mean, it's adopting pets and children. It's a process, man. And again, rightfully so. There has to be some. I think some of it is needed to make sure that said pet or said kid is going to a good household, is going to be taken care of, is going to be better off with them than in the system. But honestly, it's like almost every situation is still better than them being in like foster care, because let's be honest, the foster care system, especially in America, is trash, and I can't imagine it anywhere else. And it's so wild because you hear or see or read so much. Like, again, Harry and Charlotte could not be more prepared, financially stable get to adopt a kid, and still they're struggling. Like, it's, I honestly, you could probably meet with Charlotte and talk to her for like a good hour and probably understand that she's gonna be a good parent. You know what I mean? Like, you already know, and she's got a good support system with obviously a husband and like good friends around her. It's like, dude, just spend a day with her and you'll be like, okay, we'll bring in the kid tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, it would be that.
Hell, we'll bring 10 kids in here. Let's do
for real, seriously. And she'd probably say yes.
And she'd love every one of them. She would not care. So that's really all that's going on with Charlotte. She swings by Carrie's to she's kind of house sitting for Carrie, picking up mail and stuff like that. And she does notice she left the laptop behind, which we'll get to. I feel like that's key. I'm going to stop there on the Charlotte thing, because I think everything else that happens in that scene is key to everything else that happens. So,
by the way, Charlotte's fucking up in this episode too, son. She is. We're not there yet, but she is, and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
And if you, and those of you at home, matter of fact, before we even get further in, like and subscribe. Tell us your favorite moment of this episode, not our episode, but of this episode if you watched along. Also, tell me if you think she's fucking up because of what she did at the end. You tell me, because I think I was like, okay. I know she. Never mind.
Pause. Save it for the rest of the.
I got too much energy for this episode. What did it do to me? This is gonna be another fucking 2-hour episode.
Yeah, we were joking. Before we started, we were like, God, the last episode was long, and I was like, let's see, it was an important episode, and also spot the edit in the last episode when the power flickered and my internet cut out and we had to restart and we lost our rhythm and went a little longer than we planned. But anywho, so on to Samantha really quickly.
Yes.
Or not so quickly because I actually quite like this.
Yes, I was like, I think we can stay here a little while.
We can stay here a minute.
We can linger a little bit. Yeah,
we can linger. So Samantha is at dinner with some other women discussing a breast cancer benefit, and they're all talking about the pink breast cancer ribbon cookies. And Samantha totally scoffs, and I'm 100% on her side.
I was going to ask, I was like, do you feel the same way?
Yes.
Okay.
Because A, cookies don't do anything. B, I did not have breast cancer, but all the pink stuff and the breast cancer awareness, it is a whole industry now. It not as much money as you want or think is going to the actual research or care of breast cancer patients or anything like that. So if you want to support breast cancer, you need to really do your own research on which charity you're reaching out to or donating or volunteering with or anything, because it's all the like brands that are like, we have a pink thing for October, it's breast cancer awareness month. Pennies, fractions of pennies of the pink thing you bought is going to it's tax write-offs for the company. It's just more product profit. You've got to thoroughly vet it. Like, don't just buy it because it's pink. And also, there's no winning the like cancer Olympics, but it's kind of hard that like some cancers get more money and attention than others. Now, breast cancer is very common and very prevalent, so I totally understand that. I guess lymphoma is considered rare. Or not rare. It's pretty common. It depends
on which version.
It depends, but my friend who also had it posted something about like having, it's like rare disease awareness day, and I was like, oh, don't I feel special? I had that. And I'm all for raising money for the research and stuff like that. Although I actually was in a bad place when I did this. I did a light the night walk. And I don't think I can keep doing them because I find them very triggering, because I feel bad when I go to them, because I feel like my case wasn't as bad. And my brother's like, why do you have Catholic guilt about having cancer? What is wrong with you? It's like, I don't know. I'm in therapy. Anyway,
it's called survivor's guilt. You survived.
I think it's a really, really heavy dose of survivor's guilt.
It's a real thing.
But I was at the one this last year, and I get to hold a survivor lantern and everything. But there were people getting up there speaking, and one guy who was the superintendent of like Los Angeles schools was explaining like, oh, two of his siblings died from lymphoma at different times, and they had grown up in poverty and all this and thing. And then I was thinking about like my mom and all the healthcare crap we went through and all the red tape, and I was like, why don't we have national healthcare? And I just like lost my mind, and I was like, we would have to do this fundraising. I would have to stay there and feel bad if we just took care of it. And so the point of the story is donate to causes that you check into. Leukemia Lymphoma Society I can vouch for. They are good. They gave me $100 just for writing an email and saying I have cancer, so that was nice. So yeah, I'm totally on Samantha's side with like, the like, when does a cookie gonna fucking do? You want to raise the money, right? And also her other point though is like, she's like, some of the people at this benefit are cancer survivors. Cookie's not cutting it for like a treat that you lived. Like, can we do something more for everybody there? And the ladies agree. I did laugh. One of them's like, well, the cookies are donated, so we have them. Which I just made me laugh.
Yeah, it's like, we can't send them back.
We're not canceling the cookies.
Yeah.
And because Samantha says like, we need something outrageous and inspiring, and the ladies are like, well, why don't you give a speech, because you're kind of outrageous and inspiring, but hey, try to keep it clean.
Which I felt bad because like it was like weird that that Samantha was kind of like taken aback by this. It's like, dude, Samantha can give a speech. Like, she's given so many inspirational speeches, like at brunches and post breakup and stuff like that. It's like, why is she nervous about like giving a speech for like cancer survivors. Like she would ace this.
It's funny. Yeah, they don't get into it, but I think it is like maybe a bit of like a survivor guilt thing on her part, or
Okay.
just sort of like,
Okay. You know
oh,
what? Yeah.
or being like the face of something.
Right.
Like,
Oh yeah, that's true.
up until all the speeches that she's given, like her have been pep talks to friends in
Right.
private. A
Right.
pep talk on a public stage, as much like I'm sure she could give a speech about anything, but this is definitely something like probably the most personal speech she'll ever give in her life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't imagine that would be easy, because I sure as heck don't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, yeah, because like, yeah, I guess you would be kind of, at least in that room, she would be like the face of breast cancer. So if she gives a terrible speech, everybody's gonna be like, oh, that's who they should. Yeah, it's like it's kind of a downer. So I get that. Yeah, now.
But she is practicing the speech in front of Smith. And it's so rote, it's so like it's uninspired, and also we should note chemo has kind of pushed her into some early menopause and giving her hot flashes, so she's like wearing a wig and sweating, and she's like in her underwear, but she's still like pouring sweat, which I can't imagine. I'd hate it. Ugh.
Oh, can that actually happen? I mean, maybe I don't know if you know this, but can that actually happen?
Yep.
No shit.
They were like, it didn't happen to me, thank God, at least I don't know of. But yeah, it can kick you into getting early menopause, because it's your hormones get messed with. I think a little on chemo,
because I mean, chemo essentially is like a sickness being pumped into you to like fight another sickness, right? So you're like your body's like fighting on two different levels.
Yeah, and so it can trigger in real. Not to get super graphic, but I didn't have a period the whole time I was on chemo. I didn't restart one until I was done getting chemo.
Oh wow!
And then it was real heavy.
Flow City. It's like Flow City.
I was really worried, and they basically said, no, it's because you haven't had it, probably. Like they weren't 100% sure, but the sort of prevailing theory was because I hadn't had it, my body was like, oh, we'll re-kickstart this for you, but it's several months worth. It was bad. It was so bad. Oh my God.
I mean,
I looked like I committed a murder at the Disneyland toilets. Oh, it was so
bad. It was heavy.
Yeah.
Wow. Your body was like, finally, release.
Yeah, woo, cleaner house. Hot damn.
Goddamn.
But Smith is also unimpressed with her speech, and he's like, it's kind of stiff. And he's like, I thought it would kind of sound more like you.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, it's a fancy gala benefit thing. It's black tie. I want it to be right. And he's like, well, at AA, because I always forget Smith is in AA and sober, but he was saying the most inspirational speakers are the ones who keep it real. And she's like, you might know AA, I know PR. This is how the speech has to be. And then she's like, and now I must go stick my head in the freezer.
Yeah, she looks miserable through this episode.
Yeah.
Like literally up until like the end of the episode, like the first comfortable moment she had.
But we do get probably one of the better moments in these last two episodes. So Samantha is giving her speech. She's pouring sweat on stage.
I mean, yeah, because she's probably having a hot flash, and on top of that, the lights of the room, and then on top of being nervous. I mean, looked like she just like jumped in the pool and came and did that speech. She was soaked.
She's soaked, and she's like hunched over, and and the speech is bad. Like she's like kind of clinging to the podium. And the speech is not good, and she's speaking. No one's into, it's that like awkward silence, and someone's like coughing and she gets flustered in the speech and kind of realizes that no one's paying attention, and then she just goes, fuck it, takes the wig off, and she's like, chemo's bad enough with losing your hair, now my face is running down my dress because I'm so sweaty, and that kind of gets some laughs, and that she's like, if you're pulling this off, sorry, I messed up the order slightly. After she says chemo's bad enough losing your hair, that's like when she pops the wig off.
Yeah.
And it inspires other women in the crowd to do so to great applause, which, fun fact, the women you see taking their wigs off in the crowd, actual cancer survivors they brought in.
I thought so. I honestly thought so. Yeah, I was like, I feel like they would probably bring in some authentic survivors for this. Just like ask a bunch of women, hey, do you want to shave your head for this one?
Yeah.
Scene?
Oh yeah.
Asking a bunch of extras. I mean, here's the thing: extras would do it. There's some extras out there who would do it, but it'd be harder to do that than to actually get some people who just may have been through it, and it's more honorable to do.
Oh, that. Way more meaningful too.
Yeah, that's the word. Not honorable. Well, honorable too.
Honorable too. Yeah. But it's just a nice moment where she's finally real about it, and she's like, if you've been through chemo, you're a fucking hero. This sucks. Because the thing with being a cancer patient or cancer survivor is that I immediately balked at the second I was diagnosed. Was like, I don't want to be treated like a special little angel, like our special little warrior, so brave. Because it sucks. There's nothing like.
That's so interesting to me.
You're not. I don't know. It's. I don't know. It just because it starts to make you feel like less of a person, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like you're.
Well, that's kind of the funny thing, right? It's like when people who are like when they get like minorly sick, like a cold or like the flu, they kind of want that attention. But when they get like a major sickness, it's like, no, don't treat me like I'm delicate. Like I'm a person. I'm a human. I'm an adult. Like. I'm strong. Fuck off me.
Yeah, and it's not even so much about like strength. For me, it was like as much as I've like done stand up and low-key want attention and from being funny and everything like that.
Yeah,
it's like I think it's like an attention I couldn't control, so I was like, I didn't want the extra attention on me of oh my god, she's so brave.
Well, it's also a different kind of attention,
it's
right?
Very different.
Go on stage and do like an awesome set of stand up. It's like admiration, but when people are giving you and you're sick and people are just like pitying you, it's like
a pity.
Don't fucking pity. No, get that off me. I don't need it. I don't want it.
No one wants to be pitied. And and there's so much like I didn't do it. I haven't done it on stage in a while, but I did have a bit of what I did some stand up with my chemo buzz cut and everything like that I was joking about reading, you read all the inspirational stories about like, oh, so-and-so had like, riddled with cancer, but then overcame it and then climbed all 7, highest peaks in the world. Or like so-and-so ran like 26 marathons in 26 days or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta do all that. There's a weird, I think, expectation put on you as like a cancer patient because it's like such a it is a life-changing thing that there's like a weird sort of like, well, now you have to do something extra special because you had it.
I mean, that's a lot of pressure too. It's like, so now you have to go like, now that you almost died, now you have to go live this like extravagant, interesting, magazine worthy life.
I'll say I think that's a money thing, frankly. I'm like, I don't have the money to like.
Yeah, well, like most of the time when you see these people in magazines or whatever, you hear about they're like, oh, they survived cancer and then they went and did all this other shit. It's like, it costs like thousands of dollars to go climb Everest. You can't just like show up at Everest and be like, I'm gonna do this today. Like, no, it's you gotta like train. You gotta train. It's like training you gotta do, building up to it. You gotta like hire guides and shit like that. You gotta buy a bunch of equipment. It's not easy shit. You know what I mean? Like going swimming with the sharks, that shit costs money.
I think a lot of the like I'm doing like a major trip in May. The only reason why I did it cost money. And the only way I did it because I got laid off and I had some severance money that I was able to set aside. Like it's
it costs money, baby.
Living life to your fullest is expensive.
Facts though, for real. Like, I want everything out of life. Well, do you have everything in your bank account? Because if you don't, it ain't gonna work.
And like and I know people find deeper meaning after surviving and everything like that, and that's no knock. But I was again, from like day one, I was like, I kind of want to just get this over with and keep on trucking. Like that's all I wanted to do. Like I did not look at it as a like, now I'm redefining who I am. I'm changing everything about me. I like kind of didn't really change anything. Possibly not for the worst, but like it probably wouldn't have hurt to like do some extra stuff on it. But whatever. I was sick. Leave me alone.
Here's the thing. At the end of no. Let me. I'm gonna say this, and I feel this way for anybody that's ever survived cancer. It's your life.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like after, if not, even if you decide, hey, I want to go and be homeless, then be homeless. Like it's your life. You get to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't matter. You don't have to like you know what I mean? Because if everybody who ever had cancer like had to go on and do great things, like we probably have a cure for cancer by now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like it's your life. You do whatever the fuck you want with it. You fought the fight. So like anybody else that expects you to do something that they would do or whatever, it's like, go fuck yourself. You didn't fight this fight. I did. I survived it. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing. It's like, you know, me coming back from combat, people try to tell me, oh, what I should be doing in my life. It's no, I was there. You weren't. Too.
Yeah, you're a veteran, and so therefore you are not. I mean, this is no disrespect, but like you're like a magical, special like individual who's been through something that most people can't comprehend. Therefore, you must do something really like exact. Yeah, it's you know slightly different, but it's sort of on par with this like weird expectation of like you went through something, yes, life altering, in many ways, and therefore you must. I don't know. I
gotta become a billionaire to make it. Oh, like, oh, you survived war, so you got to do something with that life that you were given. It's like, or maybe I just got lucky, like most people.
Yeah,
maybe that's really all it is. Maybe I just got lucky. Maybe I just was in the right place at the right time to not, you know, meet my demise. Just like somebody with cancer. Maybe that's like you with cancer. It's like maybe I just had a healthy enough body that like allowed me to get through the process and keep it moving.
And maybe the greatest thing you do with your life is just live it, like.
Yeah, being happy.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking philosophical, huh? Huh? That's deep as shit.
maybe me just being happy makes it.
Maybe just all existing the shit. And having a good time is my dad says this all the time. Live well, it's the best revenge.
As a matter of fact, how about this? For everybody that thinks that you and I should be like living this like in
we're so magical,
crazy magical life. How about my Venmo is at Christopher T. Yeah. If you want to fund this magical life that I'm supposed to have, please send me all the money that you want. I will promise you that it will go to good use. I'll go skydiving. I'll go bungee jumping. I'll fucking. You know what I mean? Like I'll do whatever. You know what I mean? Like
we will go climb Everest if you give us that money.
If you fund it, I'll go do it. Fuck it. Let's put your money where your mouth is. You know what I'm saying? If I'm supposed to live this amazing life, help me get there.
Did you ever listen to Mitch Hedberg, comedian?
Yes.
From like
yes.
Or heard of him. Yes. But he has a joke about Mount Everest where he's like, I don't want to climb to the top of Mount Everest. I just want to go hang out at base camp. Seems cool. Just hang around in a tent, have some cocoa. Anyone asks you going to the top, you just go soon.
Yeah. I'll meet you up there. I girlfriend that's done it, but
oh yeah?
Yeah. What's it, Kilimanjaro? No, she did Everest.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have my Venmo handy, but if you whatever you're gonna give Chris, double it, and then he'll send me the half.
Yeah. I'll split it in half. Yeah.
That's how we'll do that.
We'll take this podcast international. How about that?
We will go on the road.
Yeah.
If you fund it.
Yeah,
because we're so special.
We'll shoot an episode from the top of Everest. How about that?
There's not enough oxygen, and we're gonna talk for an hour and a half. We'll die.
We're for sure gonna die. For sure we'll die. You want us to live? But the thing is, though, we'll be at the top, and that's all that matters. We can plan our show.
Air tanks, like.
We'll put our fucking. You know, our podcast flag at the top. Like, we did it.
It's wild though. Have you seen like the lines that go to the top of Everest where like you're literally in a line to go to the top? Like you're in that's too many people going up there.
Man. Yeah,
we should start limiting that.
Listen, people want to pay the money. It's the risk that they take. You know, what I mean, you might end up with a bicycle up there. It's just the price you pay.
Yeah, and then you become a marker for how far people are along in their journey. There's dead bodies that they use as like they're like, green boots over there. That means I'm almost to the top.
Right, because they can't clean up the bodies because it's like
you can't bring them. It's unsafe to bring them down because like weight and like balance and all that. Yeah, no, thank you.
I mean, it's also like it kind of tells me that maybe we should be up there, like a place that's like can shoot like completely inhabitable. Maybe don't go up there as a human, as a vulnerable flesh human. Don't go up there. You're not made for it. If bears aren't even up there, like there's no animal life or nothing up there. Like
I'm sorry, the Yeti lives up there.
Like the Yeti.
I'm a Yeti truther.
The Yeti. Well, clearly the Yeti wants to be alone because nobody else is living up there. So leave it alone, people. Leave it the fuck alone.
I love the Yeti in Monsters Inc. where he's like, they call me the abominable snowman, more like the adorable snowman.
Anything that John does, John
Ratzenberger.
Yeah. His voice just
so great.
Yeah, just does it.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we?
Well, we're just finished up on Samantha. So
yes,
she has the triumphant moment, and I like Smith giving her a big woohoo in the crowd. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
I love Smith.
Also, still rocking the short hair. It looks good on him.
So good.
It looks good on him.
Such an improvement.
I kind of don't want him to grow his hair back out. I was like, dude,
he doesn't.
He doesn't. Good. That's his look. That's his look. It's good.
In the movie, it's a little longer, but not like.
Wait,
like
he's in the movie?
Ooh, spoiler.
That means it's a good spoiler. I take that. Like that's great. He made it to the movie. I like his character. He's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like his character. He's still lost. Like he's not like my favorite character because of some things that he let slide. But I'm gonna let him rock. I ain't gonna come for him like I came for Aiden because Aiden let it slide like several times. At least with Samantha, it was like a one-time thing. Yeah, she did it once and was like, "Oh, I fucked up. Never again." Carrie was like, "Yeah, he keeps letting me get away with it. I'm gonna try it again."
That is why I do it again. No spoiler, semi-spoilers, I guess, for season 2 of And Just Like That. There's a million photos of him on set with her, and they got me hooked because, especially after our rewatch now and all the discussions we had, dying to know how she worms her way back into his life. Because last we saw Aiden, he has the girlfriend or is married.
He was married.
He was married and has the little baby.
Yeah. Oh wow. That
so
kind of almost makes me want to watch season 2.
They got me.
Oh man, that makes me want to watch season 2.
Oh my god, you know what'll get me to season 3? I want to see the return of Burger. I want to see the fallout.
Nah, that one. That's like
I know. I want to know.
2 episodes. That's like 2 episodes at best.
No, I want to know.
That's 2 episodes at best. It doesn't have enough legs. It have enough legs. Now, if they bring back Alexander, that can be a whole. That can be a whole season of that.
Yeah.
I can tell you that now.
Speaking of, let's get into Carrie. I forgot to say the episode title up top, but it is An American Girl in Paris Part 1. Because it's in French.
Yep.
What? the way I said "une."
Yeah. It's
simultaneously in French and Midwestern at the same time.
I mean, you said it right. It didn't sound right. You said it right, but it didn't sound right.
Hilarious. Get ready for me to basically sound like the Monty Python. Of course I'm French. Why do you think I have this outrageous accent?
Oh man.
And then I should also note, just because I do enjoy it, it's a reference to the film An American in Paris with Gene Kelly. Yes. Great movie. Yes. Great dance sequences.
I always just think of the werewolf movie.
An American Werewolf in Paris? Yes. Oh, Chris, no.
First of all,
that's not even a good one.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. The only thing I like, okay. The only thing
is it Julie Delpy, because she is hot.
No, she is hot. Yeah. To this day, she still basically looks the same.
Yeah.
Like maybe slightly, like a couple of little wrinkles in the like jawline, but that's about it. But no, I think what I do like about American Werewolf in Paris is like compared to the first movie, we get to see more more animated werewolf, a more like agile and moving werewolf, like a more menacing werewolf, right? Because like I mean, like yes, in the original movie we see it and it kind of looks menacing, but like the ones in American Werewolf in Paris, like they were all like fucking huge, hulking, just beasts. Like I imagine like when you finally get to see like a full scale what it looks like. And you see like the full length body. Like I put myself back in the scene where he's like running from it in the sewer. I'd be like, I would shit myself. I'd be like, oh,
the
damn.
subway, yeah.
No, not the subway in the sewer. Remember, he's like,
oh, sorry, no, I've only seen parts of American Werewolf in Paris.
Okay, there's a scene.
I'm an American Werewolf in London loyalist.
Oh, fair. So. I mean, even then, but it, like
because the subway scene in London
is
still scary.
Oh man,
so well done. And you don't even see the werewolf.
Yeah. No, it's the scene. There's a scene in the American Werewolf in Paris where like they're at this like crazy party that's thrown by like these French werewolves that basically just get Americans there so they can like eat them. But he's like he gets out of the party somehow and like he's in the sewers and he's running away from like one of the werewolves and it's just like this narrow sewer that's like 5 feet by 5 feet and he has and like that's nowhere to go. I was like,
and that actor's tall, right? Too like that actor is kind of a taller side. It's Tom Everett Scott from That Thing You Do.
He was supposed to be like the
Tom Hanks,
the guy next door for a minute.
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
Part of how he got cast in That Thing You Do is Rita Wilson, Tom Hanks's wife, said he looks like you. He reminds me of you. He should be in the
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
She voted on him.
I saw that. I saw his trajectory. Like it was supposed to happen, and then it just didn't.
I know.
It just didn't
because I do like him.
He was in a bunch. He did like. I mean, he didn't make no money. Like he did a bunch of TV shows and shit like that. He's made his bones, but it's like he was supposed. But yeah, you were right. Like he was supposed to be like our generation of Tom Hanks, and it just didn't happen.
No. Oh, well. But sadly, Carrie does not meet any werewolves in Paris. What a bummer. Would have been a great left turn at the end.
Oh my goodness! I would rewatch the entire series today just to see that twist again. Are you fucking kidding me? Like she gets there and Alexander is a fucking werewolf? Hell yeah, bro! Hell yeah! That'd be the greatest twist of all time.
This would be my favorite show of all time if that's.
Are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, HBO is the GOAT. They can't miss. They can't miss. All this shit with Big just leads up to her being like invited to like a werewolf clan. Yes.
It'd be like From Dusk Till Dawn. The first time I saw it, did not know that the back half of that movie is all vampires.
Oh, that shit was wow, bro. They came with you straight and it was nonstop. Like basically, once you see the first vampire, it's done. Like it's like, over. No more cutesy. It's like fuck this, like bank robber.
All the heist tension. Because I watched that with actually my family. Again, we're weird, so just whatever. And I think my mom had seen it. And it was on, and she was like, "Oh yeah," like because we were like maybe a few minutes into it, was on cable or whatever, and she was like, "Yeah, we should watch this. It's really wild." Or maybe my brother, somebody kind of knew what was gonna happen, but the others didn't, and so we watched it, and it was like. The first half is all tense and the robbers and everything. Great George Clooney, underrated George Clooney performance, I think, as like a bad guy. Or he's anti-hero,
Anti-hero, yeah.
And then then they get across the border to Mexico to the titty twister. And after Selma Hayek does her sexy dance, it's all vampires all the time for the next like 40 minutes.
Pretty much, right? Yeah, because it's the dance, the fights. Yeah, it's the dance, then they fight. Then some blood is shown, and after that, it's just nonstop.
and then the last shot when she drives away, the bar is on top of a fucking temple. So there's more probably.
Oh yeah, there's tons of them in there.
I fucking love From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh man. Well, we know there's a lot, right? Because even in the movie, there's a bunch that like get in the bar. So like, if like 100 or so show up in the bar,
God knows where they're coming from.
Probably thousands more in the fucking caves underneath. I mean, like, yeah.
But again, sadly, Carrie does not encounter any vampires or werewolves or anything fun and supernatural.
You saying that just made me want to write like a fan fiction now of this episode and her leading and finding out there's like werewolves. Like,
and I would love for Alexander to be a werewolf. I feel like you want to go vampire with him.
He does have very much vampire.
He leans vampire, but I think you could 100% turn it on its head, and but he's also so physical that he'd be a great werewolf.
Right. Especially if you think about the scene where like when and Carrie when they first go on a date, he was like, I caught this cat. Like that's werewolf shit. Little
lycanthropy.
Yeah. Might have a little lichen blood in him. Because like also too, like why is he that athletic and like 50-something years old?
Yeah. Because he's a fucking werewolf.
The fucking werewolf, that's why. And he ages, right? Because like if he was a vampire, he still look young. But as
he does age, yes.
He's aging and Lycan's age, so it's slow.
Yeah.
So, he could be like, I'm 50, but he could maybe he's this famous of an artist because he's been around since like, for like 100 years,
Yeah. Got that lycanthrope money. That's how he's supporting the plaza.
Come on,
we just busted this case wide open, my friend.
I'm just saying. If anybody wants to write some fan fiction, I'll read it. Please write this. This sounds like an amazing premise. Just take this season and turn it from season 6 and then on. Don't use any of the rest of the shit. It has no weight compared to this season.
No, I say you for no reason at all. Just have Burger get savaged by a werewolf at some point. Just
like Carrie tells Alexander about him.
He's next. And the writer found with throat torn open in Central Park.
I think it might have been an animal. What animal could have done this? Are there alligators in the sewer like we always thought?
No. Alexander Petrovsky is from a long line of werewolves.
Also, Russian werewolf. That sounds
so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that sounds.
I like that a lot. Yeah, that sounds very fun.
I think we have a new series on our hands, my friend.
Fuck yeah, let's write that together.
We're joking.
Listen, let me tell you. Yeah, and just like that, we have werewolves. That's the name of the fiction. Just like that. There's werewolves.
And just like that, I felt bitten by love and a lycanthrope. And just like that, my lycanthropy,
No, stop it. You stop it right now.
I'm gonna make it happen.
No, don't do it. We're done. Moving on. So Carrie's gonna go to Paris.
Just like that.
Get ready for Paris. Carrie's packing for Paris. Carrie is packing for Paris. We're not gonna do it. I won't let it happen. I will keep saying it.
10 minutes in the podcast. Carrie's packing for Paris.
Carrie is packing for Paris. Say it, Elizabeth. Say it.
That's so hard right now. And just like that, my misanthropy went to lycanthropy. It's silence on the podcast because we're wheezing laughing.
She cheated. I was drinking water.
I did. I almost killed him. Anyway, Carrie is packing for Paris.
Yes.
Side note, I love the outfit she hangs up on the closet.
It is nice.
It's so fucking chic.
Let me ask you this, because we find this out later in the episode, but like, she does decide to ultimately keep her apartment. I'm assuming Alexander's going to be paying for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to me, do you think? Okay, personally, I feel like that's low key kind of a red flag.
That she's still keeping the apartment?
Yeah, because it's like a what if it goes. Like you're already planning for the what if it goes. Like you're already setting in your mind that it can go wrong. Not that it will, but it can.
We've had this discussion, and I do think in her position, she does need to have an out just in case. Especially moving internationally with someone who is not marrying her. So there's no legal grounds for anything. She will be unemployed, you know.
Fair. That's a good point.
Because it does, I totally see you're like, where's the trust, that it'll work out?
Well, because it also too, like, to me, and this is the only reason why I'm also saying this, is because that apartment is like having that scapegoat kind of, to me, also puts that in the back of your mind. It's like, oh, I don't have to try as hard. I don't have to like really put like forth all my effort and my love, because it's like, I still got this. Like, if it don't work out, if I give him the bare minimum and it don't work out, then I still got that. You know what I mean? I feel like that's setting her up to give him the bare minimum instead of like putting forth her whole effort into like making that relationship work.
Yeah, I see your point, but I think it's a practical thing and not so much a like.
Love ain't practical, Elizabeth.
I know. Neither is lycanthropy. Lycanthropy.
We're not going back to that. We're beyond the werewolves, okay? We're back in the real world.
Never beyond the City. I am never beyond the werewolves.
We are beyond it.
No, I totally get love is not practical, but I think you do have to try to be a little practical, and she wanted to. That was one of her first questions to him in the whole process. Though, was what about my apartment? I think in some ways it is like, it's also just something that's like hard fought for her, hard won, even though Charlotte totally paid for it.
Facts though.
and because they, as much as he said, yeah, we're gonna live in Paris, she doesn't really know how long they're going to live in Paris.
Yeah. Because they could come back.
They could come back. He is not flighty in an irresponsible way, but he is sort of like, I go here, I go there, So why not keep it?
But it's also too, like, even if they do come back, wouldn't she at that point probably be living with him?
Probably.
In a dream scenario. And like it all works out kind of thing. So it's like, I don't know. To me, just having that, it's like, again, like that, having that piece in the back of your mind, like knowing I can just go back to that, just makes me feel like as human beings, we always be like, you won't put in as much effort because it's not it's that the stakes aren't high enough for you to like put in your max effort because I still got this plan B. You know what I mean? Because it's the same thing. Like we live in people like going after your dreams. It's like if you have a plan B, you don't really go as hard towards the dream because it's like, that you got this little safety net just in case. Yeah. I don't know. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Anyway.
But she's packing. She gets a cute voicemail from Alex that says, what are you packing for? There's clothes to buy here in Paris. Miranda confirms their dinner plans. And then she gets a voicemail from Big. And he's like, I'm in town and I want to see you. And she just immediately deletes it.
Respect.
Which is, again, so healthy. So much growth.
Yeah. Again. Anyway, let's just keep going. I'm reaching for
a big scene that comes up.
I'm reaching for the strength.
Because she comes down from her building. She's dressed to go out to dinner. Side note, Miranda says her flight's at 9. They have to eat dinner at 6. I'm sorry. It's an international flight. Get your ass to the airport at 6, girl.
Yeah, it was like that. Yeah, she should have, dinner should have been lunch at best.
It should have been lunch.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like, okay.
In a post 9/11 world with no TSA pre-check?
Right. And no, it's a ticket. It's also a ticket that's like, it has no return date. It's a one-way ticket. You want a one-way ticket to Paris? Oh, no.
All that luggage?
They got some questions for you. They got some questions.
Well, she is a white lady, though, so maybe not so many
questions. Don't matter. It don't matter. They still gonna have it. Okay, maybe not as many questions. Yeah, they're gonna have some questions. Maybe not as many as they would have for somebody that might wear a turban for their culture, but they got some questions like, why are you moving so much shit?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you afford it? What's going on? Who do you know?
So I was like, they're only having dinner for an hour, unless she's getting to the airport at 9. I think we all know that's not true, though. Because when people say your flight is at such and such time, that means like you've told them the actual departure. Well, as an airport anxiety girly, though, I've started lying to people so they'll just fucking drive me to the airport when I want to be driven to the airport.
Pound the camera, please. Pound the camera, please, because
it's not about.
I'm totally with that.
It's not about when you want to take me to the airport. You offered. I told you the time I want to go. You don't need to get involved in what time I'm going.
Correct.
If you're offering the ride, offer the ride.
Yeah, if you're offering me the ride and I say I want to be there 3 hours before my flight, you should have no problem with that. You offer the ride, get me there.
I'm not asking you to come to the airport with me.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah.
I just want you to drop me off.
Okay. Speaking of transportation to the airport, now I'm also questioning too, right? They're meeting at 6. The flight is at 9. How you get into the airport? Because I know you don't take the subway. I know you're taking a cab, and I know the traffic to the airport. Yeah, I mean, you're probably talking at least an hour to an hour and a half in traffic. So,
I guess let's just assume she was like 3 days late to Paris.
She had to be. Carrie doesn't get, dude. At best, she probably made it to the gate as they were about to close the fucking door. Yeah. I know she's that kind of, and I can't travel with a person like that. I can't. I will, like, if I was a murderer, that's how I would be. That's who all the people that travel make me that much anxious.
Yeah.
With travel, murder.
I have a friend who's the opposite. She has pre-check and everything now, and she absolutely goes last minute. And
even when you got that, that's still just like you're playing with your own money. Like, oh no, that's just so irresponsible.
Well, the good news was it was a work trip. But that would stress me out even more. But I was at her place while I was driving her to the airport, and the clock was ticking, and she was like, she was all scattered and running around and whatnot and packing, but also like taking her time at the same time. And like the clock was ticking, and finally I was like, I need you to finish packing so I can take you there to at least get you to the gate on time. I can't do this. I'm gonna have a heart attack on your behalf. And she was like, oh, okay, sure.
But anyway. I need you to get it. I need you to get it together. I need you to.
I was like, this isn't even my flight. This isn't. I'm not even the one flying anywhere, and yet I cannot handle you not going to the airport right now. Get in the car.
Do it, Get in the fucking car. I know, man, because like it's always the people like, oh, we got 3 hours. No, you don't. You don't know what's gonna happen. You never know. Because as a matter of fact, I know that shit can happen because I remember I was flying back from Australia. And just so happens to be that day, like, of course, I got to the airport like 3 hours ahead because I'm fucking an adult. I'm an adult. But like the thing that I did, because apparently China had some kind of like special going on where people could fly, and there was literally like 1,000 people in line to get through to the airport when I was getting there. Like, still got out in time because I gave myself 3 hours, but it was literally, and I'm not bullshitting you, it was 1,000 people going through security when I got there. So
my flight for my trip is at 8. I will be there at 5.
Yeah.
Possibly earlier if I can swing it.
And might hit you with a 4:30.
That's honestly the goal. I might
get there
at 4:30.
Yeah, that's a sweet spot. That's a sweet, because here's the thing, even if because I would rather get there 3 hours early because I'll get through security. At least I may have like 2.5 hours to chill, but I have 2.5 hours to chill. That means I can go get something to eat. I can relax. I can sit at the gate. I can
stare at the gate and confirm that the gate exists.
I'm good.
That's all I need.
Yeah, I'm good. Barring some kind of crazy emergency at the airport, once I'm in through the security, I can relax. Yeah. Even if I have to take 2.5 hours of my flight, I am good. Yeah. I don't care. Because what else are we doing anyway? Like, honestly, the people that take that long to get to the airport, like, or they arrive like 30 minutes before the flight, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? It's the day that you're traveling. You've been looking forward to it, obviously. What are you doing? Sitting at home doing what? Yeah. Go to the airport. Be there. You're going to do the same shit. Like, maybe you can't watch the shows that you want to watch because you ain't got no Wi-Fi, but chill. You'll be all right. The shows will be there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But anyway, Carrie's going to go get dinner with the girls, but who should darken her door but one Mr. Big in his hired car?
Yes, his fucking town car.
And he's like, he has to talk to her and coaxes her into the car like so many times before. She sat in that town car outside of that building many a time.
So many times.
Many a time.
Oof. Usually after he fucked up.
Yeah.
It's usually how he arrived to the scene after he does something pretty shitty to her. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm pretty sure that was on her mind. She was like, where have I seen this before? Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Carrie apologizes for not returning the calls. He's like, did I do something? And she's like, no, I've just been busy. And they're kind of back and forth, and he finally acknowledges that he freaked out the last time they saw each other, which was after he had the heart surgery.
Right.
And was super vulnerable in bed. And then when they fell asleep and woke up in the morning, and he was like, whatever.
He's like, I feel better. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I don't feel like I'm dying. Bye.
Yeah.
And she kind of keeps cutting him off, though, and insisting everything's fine. And she's like, I have to leave. And he's like, oh, do you want to get dinner or drinks tomorrow? And she's like, well, I'm actually leaving for Paris. And Elodie's like, oh, you're finally taking that vacation? And she's like, no, I'm going with the man I'm in a relationship with. And
it took her a minute to get there, but she got there. She told him.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm really happy, and I don't feel bad about. And there's something, doesn't feel bad about anything. And she gets out of the car, and he like chases after her. Because he's like, whoa, this can't be our like goodbye. He's like, are you moving to Paris? When would you? And he's like, when would you have told me? You barely told her you were moving to California,
right? Like literally called her the night you were leaving. Was like, oh, by the way, moving to Napa, got a vineyard. What?
Yeah.
Also, too, the thing that's pissing me off about this scene the most is his like casual, nonchalant nature. Like, oh, you came here to confess your love, but you're still like trying to make little judgments. You're still trying to play it cool. Like, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah,
get the fuck out of my face right now, bro. Real talk. Like, honestly, like his whole demeanor this entire scene just made me want to fucking punch him in the throat. If I was Carrie, I'd have chopped him right in the throat. Like, don't say nothing else to me with a fucking stiletto. Just in your car. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, because he's like, well, who's the guy? And she's like, Alexander Petrovsky. He's like, oh, a Ruski. And she I love that she's just like walks away from it.
Yo, and here's the thing. Let me tell you something. As a dude, there's okay. As a guy, there is nothing. There is no sign that a woman gives no more fucks about you than when she don't laugh at any of your jokes.
Oh, I know.
When she looks at you like everything that's just coming out of your face annoys her, you lost her. That's how men know. Like if we can't even get a little smirky smirk out of you, oh, it's devastating, bro. Yeah. Not only the devastating to your feelings as like a person, like if you're trying to like confess your love, but it's also our ego, right? Because like 99% of dudes think that they're funny, and when you ain't getting nothing. She hurt him when she looked at him like, ugh. Like because she didn't look at him like, oh, that's not funny. She looked at him like, oh, you're pathetic right
like, now. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, like who are you even in this moment right now?
Yeah. Woo! and she walks away, and he starts following her, and she's like, you do this every time. It's like you have a radar for when I might be happy, and you just come in and try to shit all over it. And he's like, I came here to tell you something. You and I, I love that she just goes, you and I, nothing.
Get out my face.
She's like, you can't jerk me around this time. And he's like, things are different. He's like, things are different though. She's like, they're never different. It's amazing. I get your frustration. Your how I
that's what I'm saying.
Level frustration. Yeah, like it's so amazing for her to take this stand in this moment. Yeah.
Like, cause like, yes, obviously her going off of him, then like, obviously there's some kind of feelings there, right? And there was, but it's like it was kind of great because it was like in this moment you could tell that she's finally had enough, like she's finally fed up with his bullshit, and the fact that they're like pushing these two together, it's like it's so coerced. It doesn't make sense for her to have this moment of outrage where she's like, "Fuck this dude!" Like I'm sick of him trying to come into my life and fuck it up, just so he can have something and then leave again. Like I'm ready to move on and like be like happy. Yeah. And for them to end up together, I'm just like, why?
I'm curious. Yeah. When you watch the last episode, I'm curious.
I'm still gonna say this. I'm gonna say the same thing. It don't make no sense. Anyway, continue. Yeah. We're gonna continue.
And so she tells him, we're done. Don't ever call me again. Forget my number. And I wrote like, it only took you 6 years to finally stop his bullshit for good. Until they get together in the final episode.
Yeah, right. Six years of some change because it wasn't really well. It kind of was, right? Because even around the time of Burger, she was like ignoring his shit and like kind of keeping him at bay. So like it really was like 5-ish. finding some change because, like, even though her and Burger weren't exactly a match made in heaven, he showed up a couple of times, and she was like, "No, I'm good. I appreciate it, but no thanks."
But she gets to dinner and she tells the girls about it, and she calls him the boy who cried love. Wolf reference. It's all there, Chris. It's all there.
That's the moment right there. That's the moment right
That's
there.
Where we should have known.
That's the moment right there where we can take a left turn, and now we're in werewolf land.
Steer this show right into werewolf territory.
Come on, it's right there. The boy who cried wolf reference. Come on.
Yep. Anyway, her point is it's too little, too late.
In our fan fiction, does Big end up being a lichen slayer of sorts, like a guest on to the beast? Sort of thing?
Maybe.
But we can still have him get killed. He can be a slayer. But he doesn't have to be a good slayer.
Yeah, I mean he's good at it.
Yeah, we can just say he can be a slayer.
He's a werewolf hunter. That's what he was doing in California the whole time.
He's taking out the lichens in Napa. Hey,
spinoff.
Hey.
I'm so thrilled with our alternate universe.
I love it. Honestly, I wish it was real. Anyway,
I wish this was real so badly. Oh my god. Anyway, but Charlotte's like, did he? Oh, he said he loved you, and Carrie's like, no, it's it's a metaphor. She's like, I'm putting it behind me, and fuck this guy. We're done with him.
Yeah.
So the dinner's winding down, and Carrie does the little fork on the glass to do a toast. Charlotte immediately bursts into tears.
I know, poor little thing.
I love Charlotte so much.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I forgot to also mention, because we said that Miranda mentions that her flight is at 9. She also mentions that it's been 3 weeks since they hung out.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, oh, it took you 3 weeks to get in touch with Carrie? That's for somebody who doesn't want her to leave. You sure held a rush.
I think they were mad at each other.
I mean, he was still like, if you're best friend, somebody's got to be the bigger person, and she's the one leaving. So maybe it's up to you to reach out and be like, look, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said what I said. I'm just gonna miss you. Nothing like that. That's fine. It's fine.
But Carrie is like, thank you all for wishing me well, even if some people, Miranda, weren't always on the attitude. She doesn't say it like that, but
she did look dead at her when she said, some people like I said me, I'm talking about you.
And then Charlotte's crying. I love that Samantha has to hug Charlotte to kind of calm her down.
Yeah.
And Carrie does say, though, she's like, I wonder, times like this, I wonder what life would have been like if we had never met. And that gets them all crying a little. And I love Samantha being like, let's pull it together. I want to show my face at this restaurant again.
Yeah, because because the waiter brings over their appetizer. He's like, oh shit, what's going on here? Who broke up with who? What?
Yeah.
All right, all of y'all crying.
And then Carrie's like, okay, we'll say something to not sentimental that'll break this, the tears up. And Samantha's like, that's what she's like, I think chemo kicked me into early menopause. I'm having hot flashes and I can barely keep my clothes on. And Carrie's like, oh, what was stopping you before? And then Samantha,
good joke. That was a good
A+ joke.
A+ joke. Solid.
She
shot the 3. She shot the 3.
Yeah. And then Samantha's like, oh, I'm gonna miss you, you cunt. And that makes Charlotte cry even harder.
She's like, I said cunt, and it still didn't stop the
tears. It still didn't stop old waterworks over here.
Woo, man.
And then we see Carrie packing up her purse, and she's got the nameplate necklace. It's going to play a big role in these last 2 episodes. It's very important to her. Yeah. I feel like they've shown it obviously multiple times, and it's been talked about as a very signature thing for her, but I kind of forgot about it until
she wears it almost every episode, though, right?
She wears it a lot, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. I mean, almost every episode is a lot for sure.
Yeah. And then she arrives in Paris. Ooh la la. The dream.
Honestly, I'm surprised that she actually got to Paris, because part of me thought that she was gonna get stopped before she even like got on the flight, and I thought that like we weren't even gonna get out of New York. So I'm surprised that the show had the balls to actually get her to Paris, like not just
They spent the money. They were like, well, we got the budget finally.
Well, not even that. I mean, like story wise, I thought something's gonna happen to like keep her from like some kind of delay or some kind of Big's gonna stop her at the airport or some shit like that. So the fact that she actually ends up in Paris, kudos to the show.
And she's in her French arrival outfit, which was what she hung up earlier in the episode, and I do love it.
No dumb hat. Fuck that
except for the dumb hat.
I know 100%. First of all, the French don't really like us that much anyway as Americans, but like I know when she showed up to the airport in that dumbass hat, I bet you every French was like, oh boy,
stupid American.
Oh boy, here we go. Tell me you're a tourist without telling me you're a tourist. That fucking hat.
Don't worry, Maurice. We will savage her with our werewolf powers later.
And the funny thing is right, it's like Americans come to the fucking Paris with their stupid hats and like nobody wears them.
Yeah.
Nobody wears like the French people probably only wear those like when they're in America, maybe, but like in at home they're like, nobody wears this shit.
It's always too much.
Yeah.
And I love that I know she's like sort of been taking French lessons, but all she can really say when she's like getting to the hotel is like hello and thank you. she
learned a couple. She loves some key phrases.
Trying. She's learning some. Yeah,
because the phrase that she says to to Alexander's daughter, like that was pretty good.
She does all right. She's trying. She does all right. Yeah.
Like, honestly, look, for 3 weeks, because like I felt that for her because I was like, I studied German for like 3 weeks before I went to, you know what I mean? It was actually like 2 months, but still, like I had, I felt pretty good about myself. I'll say my little phrases, but here's the thing: when you get to the country and you hear people actually when you try to say a little phrase and they start speaking like the full-on language to you, you're like, oh shit, I don't know. Oh, I don't know any of this. I don't know. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I was just trying to be nice. I was trying to be respectful to your language. I'm so sorry. The Germans are great though. They totally like, once you start speaking English, like, all right, fine, whatever. They don't care. But like, yeah, she tried.
It's like when I think I said this before. I asked my one friend who does all the international traveling, and I was like, do you know a lot of these like languages for the places you go? And he was like, I speak un pico español. And I was like, that's a no, Ryan. Just say no.
That's a solid no, my guy.
I was like, buddy.
That's a steel coated no.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, dude. Oof. But she gets there and then she goes and meets Alexander at the restaurant, and he's with a younger girl, and he's kind of like hugging, arm around her, and they look very close. Yeah. And so when Carrie gets in there, she puts a big old kiss on him and kind of shoots her the like, fuck you, bitch eyes. It turns out it's his daughter.
I was like, man, this poor girl is so damaged by like all these shitty relationships she's been in, because immediately she saw him hug. Like, you think him knowing that you're coming, he would just be such a like so blatant of an asshole to be like, I'm hugged up on this like younger girl in the place where I know that you would be arriving like anytime soon. You just like lost track of time. Like, when has he ever displayed any kind of behavior like that? Like, he takes his clearly he's like this like old classy dude. Like, he wouldn't be that disrespectful. No way.
And I think too, it's like culturally, just the way families interact is like different, country to country. Yeah. I don't know that the French, or well, they're Russian, French, whatever, I don't know that they're more touchy-feely, like huggy, because like I've never like hung out with my dad, like arm around my shoulder, like that tight. Yeah. But also, like, my dad's a repressed, like, boomer from Michigan, so maybe that's why. I don't know.
It's a little, definitely different. Definitely different.
Could be a part. Could be a contributing factor.
It's probably that. It's probably that. Yeah.
But anyway, Carrie tries her French, but it's pretty limited, and Chloe's like, oh, you don't speak French?
Chloe was kind of a little bitch though, low key. She was kind of a little bitch, like low key. I was like, damn, you have to do her like that, like, because I mean, from what I could see, it seems like, did Carrie kind of come up a little bit aggressive? Yes.
Yeah.
But like once she realized that it was the daughter, and you can see like her posture kind of like soften. the daughter didn't seem like she really liked Carrie too much, honestly.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, oh my god, this is my dad's like whateverth girlfriend, you know.
Could be that. Maybe she's like, I'm not gonna get attached because this
I'm
one's
not
gonna be
getting attached
gone
to this
soon.
broad, you
Yeah.
know. Who knows? Like, I love my dad, but like, it's like you love your dad, but like they make mistakes or whatever, and so she's probably like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And once Chloe speaks in French, you know, Carrie's like, oh, I didn't quite follow, and Alexander's like, oh, she's having boyfriend troubles, and Carrie's like, oh, well, I can relate to that, and Chloe's like, well, whatever. She's also like 20.
Yeah, she's like a kid. Yeah.
She's still pretty young,
Yeah.
so you know, she's not looking for another mom or
Right.
even like an auntie level like relationship with Carrie.
Also, maybe she probably don't give the best advice. But you know
I
what I
would
mean?
imagine
You know what I mean?
her
Carrie,
advice
like,
is
yeah, like
terrible, to use the French.
she's like, I've read your articles.
Yeah.
Nah, you can't tell me nothing about life. I need you to back on up.
But they talk about Carrie's first time in Paris and how excited she was to see the Eiffel Tower, and then Chloe scoffs and mocks like the light show. They did not used to do the light show thing on the Eiffel Tower. I think that's relatively new.
Yeah.
And to my understanding, you know, obviously like native Parisians are not that like super hyped on the Eiffel Tower, you know, as like an attraction. It's a tourist thing at the end of the day.
Well, to me, it is. I mean, I've never seen it, so I mean,
I've never seen it in person either.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but it's like it does. I can understand how that can like kind of like unclass, like make it a little trashy. You know what I mean? Like it makes it a little do a little light show on. It's like because that's clearly for tourists. That's not for
that's not for locals.
Yeah. Nobody asked for that. Nobody voted for that. That's just some shit that you thought like you know. That's honestly probably for Americans.
Probably, yeah.
Probably is.
Well, how come your statue doesn't light up?
Right. You know what make this thing even cooler?
Light
Lights.
show?
Some lights. If you put some lights, like some colored lights on it, oh man, that would be.
You should fire off some fireworks just to really bring it home.
I don't know why these American tourists are all Southerners, but
it's weird. It's a mean stereotype.
It works. It works.
This happens.
Honestly, that anytime I've met anybody from Europe or Britain that does an American accent, they always go Southern. So
it's easier to slide into than you know what I have. But then Alexander says he was going to ask her to meet them for drinks, but the only time she had was in the afternoon. And like Carrie's like, oh well, Carrie gracefully bows out though. She's like, well, you guys haven't seen each other in a while, and you'd have to do all this translating for me. I'm gonna take a nap, get on Paris time, and you get have your afternoon. Yeah. And he says, great. He's got an early dinner with the museum people, but after he'll eat light and then they'll meet later.
Yeah.
And so Carrie goes up to the room, and I'd be excited to be in this fucking hotel room too. Yeah. It's like
it was like mad corny. It was like the stereotypical scene of like the happy American in Paris, like really. But I was like, also that probably me too. Though I ain't even in front.
Oh, buddy,
and she her hotel, like you can see the tower that she actually is excited about. Shit, yeah, that's dope.
I'm gonna get to my shit in Dublin when I land and be the biggest fucking dork.
You should be.
With giddiness.
You should be.
Hashtag no regrets. Like, I'm gonna be so fucking hyped.
Anybody that's ever traveled before, and if it's like your first time going there and you're trying to like play it cool, go fuck yourself.
No.
Enjoy the moments. I'm trying to like front. No one cares if you like show emotion. Like, no one cares. Like, don't try to like not be a tourist. You're a fucking tourist.
Yeah.
Unless you were born in whatever country that you're going to visit, you're a fucking tourist.
Yeah.
Be a tourist.
Hot tip though, don't wear athleisure everywhere. That's a super American thing, and you will stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, that's
true. I was looking at just like packing tips and stuff, and like, now this person was more. It was their like clothing tips were more for like if you're going like summering in like France and Italy, and I'm not trying to call Ireland or Scotland like not chic, but like I think it's a little more casual than like if you're in Paris, you know.
You can say that.
But the leggings, the athleisure leggings are a dead giveaway that you're an American.
Yeah.
Which is fine because I don't really care for athleisure. I don't like wearing them. I don't care if other people do. I have a weird thing where I feel like I'm still naked even though I'm wearing leggings.
I'm not mad about it.
Anyway, but yeah, Carrie's like super happy. She's on the balcony looking at the Eiffel Tower and is just like, yeah, I'm gonna get there and gonna be like, I'm a fucking dolphin. I just lose my mind.
You should be. You should be. Absolutely. It's a place you've never seen before. Nerd out. Nerd out.
But it gets to be nighttime, and Carrie is all dressed up. Still no Alexander.
What the fuck was that dress she was wearing? Why was like that? That dress was ridiculous.
It
was a bedspread.
It's famous though
with its shoulder straps.
It's a Versace. It's known as the 1,000-layer dress with all the ruffles and everything.
Yeah, I know it's a real thing, but it just doesn't seem like. Were you going to prom, bitch? Like, he was just taking you to dinner. Like, why are you?
Yeah, her first dinner in Paris. She's here to show up and show out, baby.
Too much. It's not even that. Like, he's probably not even taking it to like that fancy of a place. I mean, the fancy. Well, I don't know. It is Paris. Some fancy places.
It is Paris and yeah.
At late, like you can have a dinner at like 11 p.m. in Paris. So yeah. Maybe it could have been a glass. I mean, because he did show up in like a tuxish or like he had like the bow tie.
He was dressed. Like
he was dressed up. So it can be. I'll take it back. It's still too much though.
I feel like they literally did it just for the shot of her. So he does finally come back, and she like just dozed off in bed with the dress like artfully like spread around her.
It took up the whole bed.
It took up the whole bed. It looks like a fairy tale. Yeah. It looks like a whole fairy tale thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason that she's wearing it for that shot.
That's fair. That's fair.
The dress I didn't read in the IMDb trivia is like it's Versace. It's $80,000, I think, at that time.
Damn. Yeah. So that means it's probably like 100 G's now.
At least, yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't even put the credit card down and let them swipe it.
Just be like,
I'm paying $80,000 on something that doesn't even like appreciate in over time. Like,
actually, I think it does.
Yeah, maybe it does. I mean,
purses for sure.
Yeah, I know purses do, but that dress is like, because that's the thing too. Is like, if it's like maybe I guess later on, because if they only make like a certain amount of those dresses, and like after that it's out of fashion, you can like come back later and maybe make it something out of it. But like, I know clothes just kind of lose their value as soon as you wear. And that's the thing too. It's like she also wore it, so it's like once you wear the dress, doesn't that make it like go down? A scale. Yeah. Unless it was like a celebrity that wore it.
Yeah.
And she's definitely not a celebrity.
Not in Paris.
Yeah, not in Paris. Maybe in New York, but not in Paris.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But he wakes her up and he apologizes, and she's like, "Hey, why didn't you call?" He's like, "Oh, you had your do not disturb turned on the phone." She's like, "Oh yeah," and they kiss and get all flirty, and he like is pulling up the layers of the dress. It's pretty cute. Not gonna lie. He makes it work. So we get to a little bit later, and she's been there a week, and she decides to be brave and try her French out at Dior.
Yes.
Christian Dior.
Yes.
Famous French designer. Fun fact, or not so fun fact, the actual Christian Dior died in the 50s. He's no longer with us.
Yeah, that's usually how
it's just his brand and house and everything. And side note, I have to recommend the movie Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris.
Okay.
It's available on Peacock. I think it came out last year. It is the sweetest little movie. She's Leslie Manville, who's been in a bunch of stuff, and she's like in Phantom Thread. She's a great actress. But she's like a little like working cleaning lady who gets a bit of a windfall from like her husband's war pension that she didn't expect. And she decides she wants a Dior dress from Paris, and you used to have to go to Paris to get one. And she does, and obviously, stumbles and starts and all these other things, obstacles to getting the dress, but she meets people. It is the sweetest little movie. I fucking cried at the end. I was so happy for her because it was just like, yeah, one for the fucking underdogs. She's just been like working her ass off, cleaning, kind of giving of herself to so many people and all these, and just like, when she fucking gets her dress, no, it's not a huge spoiler, it's in the title, basically. Yeah. But when she gets the dress and wears it, and you're like, fuck yeah, Mrs. Harris. Like, it really works. So the Dior stuff just made me think of that. Right. So I highly recommend the movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's been raining out, and she gets into the store, and when she walks in, she absolutely face plants on that floor. I think I would die. I think I would just be like, fucking shoot me in the head of this Dior right here, right now. And me, I can't. Like, and also she like explodes.
Whoever was her stunt woman embodied because like that's how I would picture if like Carrie ate shit. That's how she would look falling down. It was so silly and
like purse and cards and everything go flying. Like she like explodes when she hits that ground. Like everything just goes everywhere.
It's like she fell apart. Like she fell into pieces. It was. I had to rewind it. I was like, oh my god. She ate shit so bad. Oh my goodness. Oh man. It
is a great. It's on par with her fashion roadkill moment. It's all full circle.
Oh, that fall was. It has. I mean, that was probably the only moment I would say is funnier than this moment is when Charlotte, when Samantha says something, Charlotte
just gets
and walks out.
Yeah,
doesn't say any words. She just gets up and leaves. Like those two moments are the funniest. Oh, but Carrie's fall, man, that shit had me on the fucking floor. It was so ridiculous, and because I'm also too. It's like funny because I'm the same way like you. It's like I'm picturing myself in that situation. Yeah. I wouldn't even collect my things. I would just get up, leave my purse. I'm gone. I'm done. I'm out. Why do I need to be here? I don't need to go shopping. This is a sign from the universe that I need to take my ass home.
I almost, this is a fun story. I almost tripped and fell at a screening for a movie where Andrew Garfield was going to be introducing it. And my friend and I were walking in, and I was thrown off because it was at like the CAA agency and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of glass, and it was clear they were like meant to. You normally would have to like scan in, but they were up. But it was kind of like throwing me off, like where I was supposed to go. And I definitely, and like we kind of out of the corner of our eyes saw like, oh, I think he's getting dropped off. But anyway, we were walking through, and I definitely like almost like stumbled a little, and I was like, I don't think I would fucking ever live that shit down if I fell on my ass in front of Andrew Garfield. I think I'd die. I'd be like, hi, so nice to meet you. Because he's also like a nice dude, so I feel like he'd like help me up, and then I'd be like, while you're helping me up, could you just go ahead and snap my neck and my shit?
So glad I got to meet you on my last day of Earth.
So nice to meet you.
I'm done after this.
So nice meeting you here at the end of things. If you could just thank you.
Yeah. By the way, there's I was laughing too because or not laughing, but I was like feeling Carrie because she was like, yeah, I'm gonna try my French and I'm gonna go shopping.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. When you don't know a language, going shopping, that's when you don't know shit about that's when it hits you like, oh, I don't know. Oh, please don't do this to me. Like trying to ask for sizes and like the prices of things. Yeah.
And God knows, and she gets home and she tells him, Alexander, all about it. And she has all these bags. All I could think was like, God knows what she bought. She probably doesn't even know what she has because
she probably just put things in her. She was like, this. I'll buy it all. Like, y'all ain't gonna remember me for the bitch that failed. You're gonna remember me as the bitch that spent like $20,000.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what she says. She's like, I'm trying to erase that memory out of their heads of the American woman who fell in the store. But
plummeted. She didn't fall. She plummeted. Exploded, dude. Oh man.
So she does realize though when she's going through her stuff, she has lost her Carrie nameplate necklace.
Yeah.
And it must have fallen out.
What a way to lose it.
I know.
What a way to lose. At least it made sense. At least she just like, take it off of a try on another necklace and forget to pick it up. Like she's fucking damn near lost her life. Woo!
And she's, all upset about it. And he's like, oh, was it expensive? Like, do you have insurance on it? And she's like, no, it's just, it was
he's such an old man. He's like, did you have insurance? He's like, no, it wasn't that big. Like, it wasn't it wasn't like a Dior necklace. It was
just sentimental. It was just sentimental though.
Like I got
I wear this necklace. If you're watching the video, I wear it like every day. Yeah. I'd lose my shit if I lost it. I think I'd be devastated.
Yeah.
I'd feel so sad and bad. Yeah. It was a special gift from my grandma. I'd feel like shit if I lost it.
I got you.
And Carrie's super bummed about it. So she goes out walking and like sees a group of friends laughing at a table, and it's making her feel lonely until they notice her, and then she's like, "Oh, gotta go."
They're like, "Look at this creep."
Look at this crazy woman in her stupid like knit hat. Again, speaking of hats, no one fucking wears in Paris.
She was wearing her knit hat. Jeez.
Idiot. So, but she calls Miranda at home, and Carrie explains about the necklace, and it's just making her sad. And Miranda's like, "Come on, come on!" Anything Carrie says on this phone call, Miranda's solution is just to say, "Come
on." Yeah, yeah. She's like, "Oh, you don't like the food? Come on,
come on." Oh, yep. You, it's raining. Come home.
Yeah. Air smells weird. Come home.
Yeah. And Carrie's like, it's just a little hard, and Carrie admits, like, it's just a little harder than I thought. I don't speak the language. It's cold and rainy. And she's, I've been to all the museums.
Yeah.
And she's just feeling a little lost. And Miranda's like, well, where's Alexander? And she's like, well, he's busy. And Miranda's like, come home. Carrie's like, it's only been a week though.
Dude, first of all, yeah, it's only been a week. Like, chill out. Also, too, like, you're in Europe. Do you know you can pretty much go to anywhere else in Europe if you want to? Like, you don't have to stay in Paris. You can hop on a train and be in like you can go like at least 2 to 3 countries a day if you want to.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. Yeah, she's limited in her thinking, I think.
Yeah.
So Carrie, it says though, she's like, I feel like I just had too much time to think. And Miranda's like, what does that mean? And Carrie's like, can I tell you something and you won't use it against me when things are better? And Miranda's like, sure. Carrie's like, I keep thinking about Big and about what it would be like if I had gone to Paris with Big, or if I was here with him.
It'd be worse.
It'd be way worse.
It'd be way worse.
He'd shove her in Dior. I don't know.
Yeah.
He'd laugh.
She wouldn't have followed.
He would have laughed.
He would have been on the fucking. He would have been on the fucking floor if she fell in front of him. He wouldn't be like concerned. He was just like, "Oh shit, hilarious."
Yeah.
I mean, I probably would too. I ain't gonna front, but still.
I know.
I mean, I'm gonna laugh for like 10 seconds. I'm gonna help you up, but I'm laughing for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get some of this laugh. You're gonna have to get some of it.
Yeah. And Miranda's like kind of surprised, and Carrie admits it's something she's done just with every guy she's been with, and compare them to Big when things aren't perfect.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what? Oh.
Yeah.
As if her cheating on Aiden wasn't bad enough.
Well, that's probably why how she ended up cheating on us, because she keeps comparing all these dudes to Big. Like everybody, like he, I guess, made such an imprint on her that like she thought that was like the top guy. So anything that's not him was like seen as less. Yeah.
Sorry, my cat was being.
Yeah.
But before Miranda could really unpack any of that business, the payphone cuts off.
Yeah, she had a calling card. I was like, man, I haven't seen those in years. I know. Fucking calling card. Damn. Can you imagine that used to be the way that we had to like call home from another country?
Crazy.
Imagine if you lost it. Yeah, man.
Incidentally, wild. I need to get my international phone plan set up soon.
It's super simple.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It's the international travel now is
it's amazing.
It's so easy. Like it's honestly like barely any stress other than the fact that you have to travel. Like that's the stressful part of it. Anything else, like it's pretty much awesome.
I know. I'm making my like little listy of like things I want to do like in each little stop I'm at, but I'm like also like just kind of go with the flow, like see what fucking happens. Like you spot something, I'm not like I have to go to all these places.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do admire Carrie for at least just wandering around the city, because that is also how you just discover fun things. If you are,
I mean, there's some rough parts in Paris you might not want to wander into.
Sure.
She might want to like get a map.
Yeah.
Get a map, talk to some locals, see what area she don't want to be in, because there's some gangs.
Yeah.
Some gangs in Paris. Some real gangs. Anyway.
So as we mentioned, Charlotte goes to Carrie's to pick up her mail and get her recommendation letter for the adoption. And while she's there, she kind of looks around the apartment, and that's when she spots the laptop sitting on Carrie's bed.
Yeah.
And she's really surprised that she left the laptop behind, which is a big hint at Miranda's whole, like, writing is kind of who you are.
Yeah.
It is surprising that she would leave the laptop.
Well, behind. I think it's kind of to prove to herself that she's like, I can live a new life. Because again, it is like, and I think that's actually, again, this doesn't make any sense for them to give back, because it's like that shows growth in her. She's like, I was a writer, but that's not who I am. That was my career, but I'm also a person.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a big step for her to leave that, honestly.
And while Charlotte's kind of looking around, checking out the laptop, the phone rings and it's Big leaving a voicemail saying, I know you never want to speak to me again, and I have nothing to lose except you, and I love you. And that's when Charlotte picks up the phone and says, Hey, it's Charlotte.
Okay, see, this is
the scene that drove you bonkers, I know.
Okay, look, I fucking love Charlotte. Fuck with her the long way. But, and I know that she's like, this hopeless romantic, and he said the word love, but it's like, she also knows how happy that Alexander makes her. And she knows that also, like, he hasn't put her through all the bullshit that Big has. So I don't know why, in her mind, she thinks it's a good idea to be like, oh, Big called, let's invite him out to lunch and, like, figure out. Like, she should have just erased that. Like, what do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all the people there. Like, if it had been Samantha and her, that erase. She would as soon as he talks, she'd be like, don't fucking call her again. She told you not to. Goodbye.
Or at the least, whenever she talks to Carrie next, maybe mention it to her first and just, but maybe not. Like,
not at all.
Carrie said at dinner, like, I'm done with this guy.
She told him, because she told him, she said, I told him not to call me ever again. Like, leave the fuck alone. So, like, that's why I don't understand this move from Charlotte. Like, of anybody that, because I can understand this from Miranda.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because she's still being selfish about this whole thing. Like, she still wants her to come home. She doesn't want her to be in Paris and shit like that. So that would make sense for her to be like, oh, Big call? I know a way to fuck up Carrie right now and get her back here. But, like, it didn't make sense for Charlotte to do that.
But you said it though, she's the hopeless romantic, and it's the whole fantasy of, oh, he can change, she can change, and to her it's Big is changing. His heart grew 3 sizes that day. After the bypass.
Fine.
I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying that's the logic.
I know, Charlotte, little dove.
So at brunch, Big arrives, gets a smile from Charlotte, death stares from Miranda and Samantha. And all I could think of was that TikTok sound where it's just as I thought, trash.
Trash. Absolutely.
So Big knows he's talking to them. He's like, I know I have been the favorite over the years. Charlotte's like, I wouldn't say that. Samantha's like, I would.
She's like, I'm sorry. Have you been here for the last 6 years? What are you talking about?
And he admits he fucked it up with her so many times, and he wants their advice. He's like, you guys are the loves of her life. Any guy's just kind of lucky to come in fourth. He's like, but I do love her. And you don't agree with the loves of
no.
Fourth?
That was no. That was he was working them. That line was to work them. That's all he was doing.
Massaging.
He was working. He was working. He was getting their egos a little, buttered up, and they're like, oh shit, we're
the real loves of her life.
Especially for Miranda, that fucking buttered up her ego. I mean, she was ready to be baked.
Yeah. Because he's like, if you think I have a chance, I'll be on the next plane to Paris. I'll go find her, whatever it takes. Not that she's gonna be that fucking hard to find, but whatever.
Paris is huge. She could be very.
But they know where she is. They just tell him she's at the.
They do. But I'm saying, this is my thing though.
I think they could give him that information before he flies to Paris.
Fuck that.
Make him work for it.
Hell yeah. If you really, because my thing is like, if I tell you there's a chance that you can get her, then you fly to Paris and you figure out where the fuck she is. I ain't telling you a goddamn thing, because guess what? If you really trying to put in this work, I'll make it hard for you.
Use your businessman resources and find her.
And let me tell you something, Paris is a big city, and if you find her without any of our help, then you were meant to be with her. If not, bring your ass back to New York and shut the fuck up about it for the rest of your life.
That is a fair challenge, but I don't know if that's what they do exactly, but. He's like, but if you think she's truly happy, I won't wreck it. I will leave her alone. And that's when Miranda, who's been silent the whole time, says, go get our girl.
Selfish.
Trash.
Selfish, bro. I know she only said, go get our girl. She just wants him to bring her back to New York. That's all. She don't give a fuck if... That's what I'm saying. She's so selfish to the point where she would rather her be with a man that makes her miserable just so she can have her. Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
In this rewatch, it is wild how much I don't like Miranda. It used to be like, Miranda
She was one of my favorites.
She's the smart one. She's the one who's got her shit together compared to everybody else. She, maybe excepting Samantha. But I'm like, oh, Samantha has too much sex, so you want to be Miranda? Hell no, I want to be Samantha. She's the best one. She's truly the best friend of any of these girls. I know we'll rehash this all in the final episode, but I have to say it.
Yeah, but as a solid friend, she's the most solid friend in the entire group.
Yeah.
She don't judge nobody. She's always got people's backs. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when they do fuck up, she lets them know, but she never does it in front of anybody else. She never like fronts them out. She's like, look, I'll defend you in public, but at home, I'll tell you fucked up.
Yes.
They don't deserve her. None of them deserve her.
Not one of them.
Well, maybe Charlotte can
have her.
She can have her, but like
hang with her.
Yeah, Miranda.
But that's why she's not in the revival.
Yeah, I know. They don't deserve her. They don't deserve her.
She fucked off to London, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But the episode ends with Carrie having drinks with Alexander, and he pulls out a jewelry box, and it's a new diamond necklace. And he's like, I know it's not your necklace, but it's a necklace for you. And it does cheer
up. Did she
up.
not go back to the store, or what?
I mean, part of me is like, oh, if it meant that much, wouldn't you kind of try to retrace your steps? But maybe you just sort of also assume like it's gone. Because
somebody might have picked it up.
Yeah, in theory, it could have fallen out though anywhere too, maybe.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I was just assuming that it fell out at the Dior store after she fucking ate her face in the fucking pavement. So,
but maybe she dropped it somewhere else, or thinks she dropped it somewhere else, and it's just sort of like, oh, it's gone, you know.
I mean, but it don't even sound like she attempted to go back to the Dior store like that. But at least look there. I mean, you literally like shattered on the floor. Maybe that's. Probably the most likely where it might have ended up.
Yeah.
And then nobody's going to keep it because it ain't worth nothing. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody at that store can tell gold from, gold plated.
Yeah.
So,
But the new diamond necklace is pretty. It's almost like they're sort of floating on her neck. It's very like thin, delicate, chain. It is nice. And, he's like, I know I've been busy at the exhibit, but as soon as it opens, it'll be just the two of us. And they start kissing, but then they're interrupted by some of his French friends, and they do introductions, but then she's immediately like lost in the conversation. She doesn't know the language that well, and they're all kind of talking over her, and you can kind of see it on her face that maybe things she's regretting.
To be fair though, like I hate it when people do that. Like, like if y'all all know the language, I don't. Like, especially if I'm there with somebody of that group, it's like, I know y'all know English. Let's start talking to me. You know what I mean? Like, at least for a while, like maybe go to some French here and there and then, but like, I understand by accent, but just like completely disregard the fact that like, well, they're like, even Alexander didn't be like, oh, my friend doesn't know. Yeah. Or my girl.
He barely introduces her, and then they literally like talk over her. Like the other woman in the friend group is like leaning over Carrie, so she's like boxed in on this like couch they're sitting in at the bar. Yeah, and it does suck. When you're like trapped in like that kind of conversation situation, fluent or not, it's annoying.
By the way, too, I mean, again, it just seems like shoehorned in because Alexander's such a classy guy. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't just be so caught up with his best friend that he's gonna just like forget that Carrie's even in the room. You know what I mean? Like that's like they're like trying to make that's a big characteristic. He would do some shit like that, like
we saw him do that kind of shit,
right?
Like
that's what I mean. It's like it's fabricated. It's not, you know what I mean? It's just it's so forced. It's so forced. That's not an Alexander type move.
Not like consistent with the character.
No, not at all. Especially after he just gave her this diamond necklace. Like, he's just gonna like pretend that she don't exist now after he gave her this expensive diamond necklace, like trying to do romantic and show his affection towards her and like make her feel better about losing her necklace. He's gonna go from that to ignoring her. Because it don't compute. The math ain't mathing. Anyway.
But that's the cliffhanger. And next week it's An American Girl in Paris Part 2. And the series finale. And our 100th episode.
Bing, 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 bing. Yeah.
Bing, bing, bing. Party horn. So you can find us, the show, on Instagram at Show Me What Podcast, and I'll take you to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, where you should be liking and subscribing, please, and do the notification bell. And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Elizabeth Movies. Yeah. Again, I don't know my Venmo, but if you Venmo Chris, we'll climb Mount Everest for you.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Chris, where can they find you to do that kind of thing?
You can find me on all social media and all cash and Venmo apps. Christopher T. Mack on all social media and money apps. So, if you guys want us to, live that life, send that money.
Yeah. We're so special. You should give us money.
You know what I mean? Get us there.
And we'll see you next week for the grand series finale. We've made it, man. We did it. I can't believe we finished.
Made it to the finale, man.
We made it for the finale.
You didn't do it. You gotta do it. Gotta do it. Finale, man. I was trying to do your Dennis Hopper, but it wasn't good.
Oh, we're at the finale, man. There's fucking werewolves in Paris, man.
It's Americans and werewolves in Paris.
And werewolves in Paris. It's all coming together. Kurtz is there too. I'm really not doing it very well.
It's okay. We'll get it over the next one.
We'll get it next time. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Yeah.